YouTube, YouTube, YouTube. It's your homeboy Fat Rat Evolve, the original West Side Playboy Gangster Crips. You know we had to do a part 3, man, to get into this West Side. But after this part 3, we're gonna do a little gang banging, right? We're gonna get you acclimated into this my part in the Playboy Gangster Crips. Let's get it.
Ain't nothing I can say, nothing I can do. I feel so bad, yeah. I feel so blue. Mm. I got to make it right for everyone concerned. Even if it's me, if it means just me, what's getting burned? 'Cause I could never make you unhappy. No, I couldn't do
Do
that,
your thing, Lenny.
yeah. Only wish I didn't love you so. Makes it so, so very hard to go. So very hard to go.
Yeah, like I said, when we together, I want to take you through some of this good music, man. Some of these good oldies, and some of the points in my life were really affected by oldies, man. So I kind of hold on tightly to my oldies. Anyway, so I want to make a correction. So when I was talking in my last video, I was referring to what was going on Holt Street when Stacy Bullock, Big Stag, rest in peace, man, moved to Holt Street. They weren't on Corn Street. They had moved to Holt Street, and they used to buff iron and stuff in front of the building. And my brother used to buff with him. My brother Tony and the homie Woodstone, Marcus. I think Sherman Lee used to work out with him and stuff like that, man. These was some OG Crip dudes, man, and I used to run behind them dudes, man, a lot in the early stages, man. And they took a liking to me. This was long before we started gangbanging on the west side, though, in our area. Um, so with that being said, I'm gonna make that correction. Let me see. And then when I was on Bedford, you cannot leave out Barry Girls, man. You can't leave out Barry Girls when you're talking about the Bedford boys, man. You know, I don't want to get the whole Papa T story because that's more of a story that Jesse James has to tell. Because them is older dudes, so what they going through in dealing with Papa T, man, and what the Bedford boys is trying to do. I believe they was trying to embrace being Bloods in the neighborhood at that time, and that might have been like '77, man. Um, when that was going on, '77. No, no, it wasn't '78, so it had to be '77 when Papa T was down through there, man. But he stayed coming through. I think back and forth, off and on. When we first got started, like '79, I believe he was the last time I heard of an incident with Papa T. And then fast forward in Soledad, I actually ran into Papa T, man. It was an interesting conversation, man, because I knew him from a different vantage point, man. His girl was my best friend's, my best friend's big sister was his girl in the hood back then, man. And so when I would meet him, it would be, him going in his pocket, giving us a few dollars if we needed it, man. And he's with 20 city stones or something. You know what I mean? So it was never really an issue between me and Papa T. But he definitely was moving around in the area, man, rolling kind of hard over there back then, man. And he gets omitted from some of the history. I don't know why we do that. Uh, just an honest account is good enough, man. Let everybody figure that out, sort that out. You can't change the past. It's done. You can't change a word of it, right? So it happened. Let's deal with it. So with that, I want to make those two corrections. Okay. Then I want to add in the activities that we had. We would like I said, now we're in this stage where I'm gonna make a list, right? I'm gonna give you like a little list of homies that became the homies from Playboy Gangster, right? That was all together anyway. Like we was all together. Like so, it would say me, Big Creep, uh, Green Eyes, Damon Ross, Fred came late, but he part of the he was one of the most hard-headed, stiff-necked, and rebellious ones of the Bedford boys, man. But that was my brother, man. You know what I mean? Rest in peace, Big Fred, man. Um, who else, man? Lil Keith. Mm, that actually was mine. It was mainly us, man. I know Creeper somebody will hit me and let me know who I'm leaving out, man. But Boxer, Anthony Perry, um, of course Jesse. But Jesse is a different story altogether. And when we get into that part, I'm gonna explain some very unique things about Jesse James, man, that y'all don't, you may not be picking up on when you see him or when you hear from him. Um, I'm not missing nothing else. Hawk, but I'm Hawk and Toddy Boo Boo and them. But I think Toddy Boo Boo got there right when we got started, like '79. I think he got there, and his family got there, and that's Garth, right when we got started. Now, the importance of understanding the fact that on every street in the core of the turf, right, that there was factors, there was somebody of influence, hitters, man. Reno was over there, man. Reno Masterson was he was from Riverside with my brothers and them. Um, but when my mother ended up coming to coming and getting a bigger apartment and bringing the rest of us up there, man, it just got real live. It had gotten real live by that time, man. But the point I'm making is that we all started getting into money, man. We all started getting into hustling, man. And at that point, man, it was no longer child play, really, because now we putting licks down, and I'm telling you, man, we 10, 11 years old, man. We not old. We not older. And then for me, what a lot of homies didn't understand was that I'm in between my mother and father in Watts and West L.A. And then on occasion, some of my brothers and sisters is still in Riverside, so I'm there too, right? So I would be missing. You'll see me, and then you wouldn't see me for a week or two or three, or maybe a month, and I'd be moving around. But then I come back. You know what I mean? In summertime, different stuff like that. I wasn't just consistently right there sometimes because I was always in between my mother and father, man. And some of the times, man, we would. And one of the things I omitted accidentally when I was telling the story about 97th and Grandy and my uncle Marshall being an original Crip and my neighbors on 106 in Wilmington and the OGs who used to put us in the cars and take us places, man. One of the places that they used to take us was Centinela Park to see Raymond and Tookie, man, to see the original Crips at Centinela Park. We used to be in them back seats. We was them little children, man. I was in them back seats. Would jump out and hit one of them grills up, man, and one of the sisters would be grilling the little hot dogs and whatnot, man. That was us, over there, and everybody back flipping and clowning. That was us. We was them little dudes right there. So I was exposed to the Crip thing long before I got to the West Side, right? So now we're gonna enter a phase where we starting to do crime on the West Side, and it's getting intense. Like it's starting to be us planning licks. Now we get through the fifth grade, and one of the things I want to point out, man, in graduation of fifth grade that I remember, um, I remember them saying, because Tracy Jackson and them graduated from sixth grade when we graduated fifth grade. And I remember the girl, I think her name was Katrina. She was one of the only girls who could flip back then. And she came and ran around to where we was all hanging out at and said, "Y'all hurry up and come over here, man. Tracy Jackson and this girl is doing the it was a dance called the Texas Hop." Yeah, that brother was real popular back then, man. Had a lot of swag, man, back then. Um, and so we're getting into a whole nother thing. We live close to Beverly Hills, as we keep reiterating. Um, we live close to Hollywood. We're close to money, and we want some of it. And we're not asking for it, right? At the same time that we're about to get into our hustling thing, the dance group thing is starting, like in our area. And the first real dance group from our area, which would be like the older homeboys, right, is the Moonlighters, right? And I can't name all the Moonlighters. Um, I know I don't even need to name them, man, because I'm gonna mess that up. I don't even want to mess that up. Um, but I remember, man, how I would be privy to seeing, we would get to see them practice dancing, because sometimes they would come and practice inside of different apartments inside the glass house and stuff like that, man. Because Alan Williams was a Moonlighter and he lived right across the hallway from me. Um, and them was all my big brothers, man. All of them dudes was like, I was like a little brother to everybody over there, man. You know, because I was one of the young dudes who was off the porch. You know, if you seen me and you seen Lil Keith, you knew we was going after something. Like we was going to have something. Um, so the dance group thing started, and it was the Moonlighters in our area first, right? And by that time, then I'm gonna go to saying this is about 76, late 76, right? I remember, man, me, Lil Keith, Irvy, they used to live in the building next door to us. Neil Hope and the Hope family ended up living in that building. I didn't know Baby Nose was in that building too. Um, he mentioned the other day that I was getting on somebody's nerves. I was always on somebody's nerves over there on Corner Street, man. You know, always. If you knew me, I was on my menace game back then. But yeah, LaSalle having the weed spot, Lil Keith. I would be in there sometimes. Me and LaSalle fell out. We not mentioning Diamond, Mark Flowers, rest in peace, man. We not mentioning him. We not mentioning um, Scooby. These is Diamond is Holt. Scooby is Corner Street on the top end of the second side, the 2000 block. Uh, Scooby, his brother, the drummer, I forget his name, man, played the drums. But I remember when Vincent first came to the hood, man. We just hit it off immediately because he was a lunatic. Um, but we had already started, man. Going up to different streets in Beverly Hills and going in stores and running out with what we could grab. Getting chased. I mean, helicopters and hiding under cars and I mean, man, it started. I remember I don't know who remember the motorcycle shop called Five Star up on La Cienega, and somebody hit that, and the whole turf went in there and was on mopeds and motorcycles all through the turf, right? That was a mess, man, because the police came through and got every little piece of. If you took a mirror out of there, they came through the hood and found that stuff, man, and locked everybody ass up that they could find with that stuff, man. That's when we started going to jail too. You know what I mean? Yeah, we started going to juvenile hall back then. Sylmar Juvenile Hall, they would take us. So they would take us to like the homies was talking about. West L.A. was the police department that frequented the area. You know, we were the ones that West LA was targeting. You know, um, I remember, man. We were at the forum, me, and my step pops, y'all remember Mr. Ed, stop playing. And my step pops and my uncle Spence from Inglewood, and Uncle Spence took me and his son Brian and Mr. Ed to a Laker game. This in the '70s, right? So I'm going to get a something from like a little slushy or something. I get up, or no, I get up to go use the bathroom, and I get out the seat and I walk down the little stairs and I slip on some a slushy and fall down. And I'm finna get up, and before I could get up, my uncle ran and jumped up on my chest, like put his knee on my chest. I'm like, man, you hurting me. He's like, you all right? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. He said, no, you're not. No, you're not. Your back hurt, don't it? I'm like, yeah, I guess my back do hurt a little bit. He said, that's they coming to get you. Don't worry about it, man. Long story short, we filed a lawsuit against the forum back then, man, and I got a little settlement, man. And I end up buying, went up to Flexo, uh, up on Venice, man, and got me a brand new blue mini bike, man. And I was all over the hood in the mini bike, man, and everybody knew that's little AJ on the mini bike, man. He's off the chain. You know what I mean? Yeah, I was the only homie who was doing that. Other homies of the, my little circle, the little brothers I mentioned, I was the only one who was mobile like that. And I bought a car back then with the little settlement money. Um, and then Pops transitioned, and I inherited the '72 Pinto. So I inherited the Pinto in like '77, I think it was. '77. I'm 12 years old. Yeah, that was my second car though. And I knew how to drive. My brother Mike taught me how to drive a car when I was like 7 years old. I knew how to drive and get around, and moms wouldn't sweat me. That's different type of thing going on now, man, than it was back then, man. We would get in the car, man, and I would literally, man, drive my Pinto from the West Side to Riverside, California, some days, man, and hang out with Stanley Lang, rest in peace, and Fred Jones, my little partners, man, rest in peace, man. Out there, I had a lot of partners out there, man. And I'm gonna take you into Riverside a little bit, but Riverside wasn't the development of Fat Rat, man. It was Watts and West L.A. But now let's get into this dance group thing, man, because you got the Moonlighters in the turf, and then my brother Jeff Bray. I know a lot of y'all forgot about Jeff Bray. My brother was like a state class athlete. Um, he ended up graduating from Pasture and going to Fairfax, where he was slated to be most likely to succeed in some kind of major sport or something. He played football, and he was a track star and all those kind of things. But he was in a dance group with Michael Laurie, Jeffrey Davis, Lonnie Simmons. You remember the Total Experience, the Gap Band, and all of that. Big Lonnie Simmons, but Lonnie Jr. was a Diamondback too. Um, I think Mark Huntley was. He did some dancing with him. I can't confirm him as being a Diamondback, but I know they was like a clique. Let me give you all a little shot of this here, man. That's the Diamondbacks right there, man. That dude up there at the top, that's my brother Jeff Bray, man. Um, Love that dude, man. Me and Jeff, man, from Riverside all the way to the West Side, man. And some of the times he would come out and visit me in Watts. Um, if y'all know me, man, y'all know how Jeff was about me, right? I remember a time, man, when we finally when I made it to Pasture. I was in the seventh grade. Jeff was in the ninth grade, and the Diamondbacks was there. And I remember we was playing. We was over there by the little court playing the Get Like Me thing, or flip pitching quarters or pennies, the win quarters and whatnot. And the ninth grade dude, I beat him. And he was a tall dude, like, and he was a ninth grader. I'm in the seventh grade. I'm like, give me my money, man. He's like, I ain't giving you nothing. I'm like, oh, you ain't gonna give me my money? And he said, I ain't giving you nothing. I'm like, all right. I start walking away. Somebody walked up and told him, that's Jeff Bray, little brother right there. The dude following, this was the mistake he made. I'm on my way to Jeff and Michael Lowry and them, where they at on the basketball court. I just want to let my brother know that somebody in his age group in the grade that he's in is attempting to intimidate a seventh grader. I just want to let me put it that way. I'm being messy, you know what I mean? Because I know how my brother go act, right? So I take a walk over there, and the dude is following me all the way over there. He's determined to give me this money back that he told me he ain't gonna give me. I said, nah, you ain't got to give it to me. He's like, nah, here, man. I'm just playing with you, man. So I said, you shouldn't play with me, man. You don't know me. What you playing with me for? And he's following me. And by the time I walked up to Jeff, they were my brother Tony. I don't know how Tony was there because Tony's going to Hamilton. I just want to tell y'all this little story. So Tony, my brother Tony Bray is going to Hamilton, but Tony, Michael Lowry, I think Jeffrey Davis, a couple of other brothers that they ran with, and Jeff was all standing on the basketball court over there with trench coats on. They look like good fellas. And the dude is shaking like Don Knotts, but I don't have no pity on you right now. I want to see how I feel when you realize how my brother gonna act when I tell him what I'm about to tell him. And I'm doing it for the deliberate instance of watching him kick your ass. I want to see it. I don't know if I can kick your ass or not, but I know I'm pretty sure he can do it for me. So I'm gonna I'm gonna tell him to take that ride. So I go over there and I'm like, man, this dude right here. He's like, what's up, bro? And I'm like, this dude right here, man, owes me money. I beat him in the little thing, and he talking slick like he ain't got to give me my money. And he said, oh, really? And the dude tried to say something to Jeff, and Jeff just took off on him. I'm talking about whoop the dude all the way around the whole basketball court, like the length of it. Turned corners on the basketball court, whooping the boy, man. It was bad. It was real bad. Anyway, so and the coach, the Oriental dude that was the coach at that time was the one who had to get Jeff up off of the dude, and I ended up taking all his money. I ended up taking all his money. So moving forward, man, we got through Shenandoah. I don't know where I was in the sixth grade. It's so bad, man. I moved around so much. I don't know what grades are at Gompers. I almost want to say I was in Gompers in the sixth grade. But I don't know if Gompers is just seventh, eighth, ninth. I got to look that up, man, because one of them years I went to Gompers. I went back with Pops, and I went to Gompers, and then when I left, came back to the West Side, Pops died. That's when Pops died, after my year in Gompers. I lost Pops. And then that's when I inherited the Pinto with my grandma, my big mama. Um, and then I ended up going back one more time, man, because I was getting I had gotten to the point where I became troublesome on that west side. Like I was always getting into trouble and going to juvenile hall on that west side, you know. But somewhere in the sixth grade, and then so I got back to the west side. I missed the sixth grade on the west side because I don't remember. I didn't graduate from Shenandoah. I didn't graduate from Shenandoah, so I'm like, where was I? Was I in Riverside? I had to? It had to be Gompers, man, because it's around that time where I went to Gompers for that year with Red Eye. Me and Red Eye was every day. It's me and Red Eye. So with that being said, I get back to the west side after the sixth grade. By that time, that's what's that, sixth grade? I'm 12. I got cars, motorcycle, mini bike, money. I'm hustling. Me and Lil Keith is selling the weed. We got the weed sacks, with that commercial. We selling that commercial, right? Behind the glass house. You can come pull up on us behind the glass house. We got the plug on the commercial. Then Lil Keith got the plug. Lil Keith had every plug, man, that we ever needed. Lil Keith. If I know 100 people on the West Side, he know 1,000. I wasn't sociable like that. I moved in circles. Lil Keith knew everybody. So when we hooked up and we started stealing and robbing and all of that type of stuff, man, it was just ridiculous. We had what we would have everything, and we learned to keep it on the low because people were actually jealous of that, man. The jealousy factor kicked in because these little niggas riding around, got cars, and always riding to the beach and doing whatever they want to do, man. And we classy. You know what I mean? We classy. We get the money and make it look good, right? So it had gotten to a hustling point, man. And so now we in and out of uh, jail, going in and out after 12 years old. In fact, my first, yeah, it's definitely sixth grade. I mean, it has to be a Gompers of sixth grade, man, because that's when I fell out with Pops and got into a fight with Pops. And it was over something, petty, I thought. It was, as I reflect, not as I thought, but as I reflect, we have to be careful how we handle our parents, y'all. Because it's true that we're not here to judge them, you know, because you don't know what a person, a grown ass man, is going through until you're a grown ass man going through it. You really don't. You really don't. Holding down a family, struggling with your health, keeping the bills paid, you know, different things that men go through, man. Struggles with your woman and different things like that. And if you ain't been through those things, you don't know what they consist of. Profound enough to make a judgment call as to whether someone's right or wrong about how they're handling you. So just be cautious of that, man, as you grow and as you raise your children. Be mindful of the fact that they need to be taught and trained on things like that, the reserve judgment and things like that. Not just preaching to them, but demonstrating to them, the error of their ways and stuff like that. You got to do that, man. Because these are things I didn't catch up on until later in life, much later in life. I didn't catch up on them. They eluded me. So we fall out, and I run out the house, man. And I run and jump on the bus, 9288, I forget which one it was. I jump on the bus and I ride the bus. The dude that let me get on the bus, I ain't had no money. He let me get on the bus and ride downtown. So I get downtown, and I ain't got but one shoe on. So I'm like, man, I ain't gonna make it. I'm not going all the way to the west side with no one shoe. So I go into a shoe store, put on a pair of shoes, and put my one shoe on the rack. And I'm finna walk out the shoe store with the shoes. I passed on the shoes, but the lady was at the counter checking out with her purse on the counter, and I grabbed her purse and ran out the door with it and hit the corner, and then went into one of them LA alleys downtown LA, man. And this dude, man, came running out the store. He was sitting by like he was the dude's, and it's a brother, older brother, man. Look like, who do we remind me of, man? Like the brother from Cooley High, but like maybe 6'10". You know what I'm saying? He come out the store like a greyhound on me, man. Track me down. You hear me? Track me down. And I'm like, man, why you chasing me, dude? This ain't even yours. Like it's like a Mexican lady or whatever. I took her purse or whatever, man. And he got a knife in his hand like the movies, you gonna die. Don't like you like, what is this old dude on, man? You going to jail today. You gonna die or you going to jail. I'm like, I threw the purse back. I'm like, here, man, just get a lady her purse back. He like, that wasn't good enough for him. Hero, I don't want to be all vulgar, man, but I got choice words for him today. Even like now, conscious and all that, I still got some choice words for that. What you hero me? What you pull the police to be for her for? Yeah, I mean, I done got away with this thing if it wasn't for you. But he held me down like he kept chasing me, man, all the way until the police turned the corner and seen a commotion and pulled up on us and arrested me. That was my first arrest going to the West Side, man, downtown L.A., trying to get to the West Side. And they took me to the Parker Center and called my mother. My mother drove down to the downtown, sat down with me with the police right there and they was like, we don't want to arrest him, man. Ma'am, he told us that he had some trouble and he was just trying to get a pair of shoes and a few dollars. And we are gonna write we're gonna write him up, but we don't want to arrest him and send him to jail. If you want to take him home, and then they had me rolled up and some kind of way I ended up in court dealing with it, and I ended up on probation, and I had a probation officer from falling out with pops, and that was the last time. No, I had to go see pops when he was in the hospital, man, transitioning. It was painful to watch, man. He was going through a whole lot, and I'm gonna tell you something, man. At that time, I was so petty that I wouldn't forgive pops, and I'm watching pops deteriorate, like go through a cancer, like in a cancer eating his body and his limbs and stuff, man. And it's gross, right? It's terrible, and I didn't care. There was something going on in me. I was transitioning into another phase psychologically of apathy where I didn't really care anymore. And I'm 12 years old. I don't care no more. I'm completely insensitive at that point. I'm going to grind. I'm going to get some money. And I've made a decision that that would be my aim, my purpose, right? No compassion. I didn't develop that. I didn't regain compassion for nearly 30 years after that. It was crazy, man, to become in just an instance, in a moment, right? I was converted in a moment. I snapped decision. That's wrong what you doing, how you treat me right there. And I rose up and I rebelled against my father, and I went into a stage of rebellion that left me apathetic. So moving forward, it wasn't it wasn't hard for me to get involved in a gang type activity because I didn't care, and I wasn't going to be talked out of it, right? It's like it's crazy, man, how you do that. And we have to learn how to catch that in our youth. Like we got to learn how to spot that and to intervene on that and to attempt some form of change. And then when we offer that change, we must also be prepared to give that person we're trying to change something positive to do. So you don't wake a man up without something for him to do, right? So with that being said, my next video, man, I said getting to the West Side, and we started making moves, and it started becoming about getting a little money. It wasn't no crack packs and no pistols back then, man. You had to get down to get something. You had to plot. You had to put it on the line. You had to scheme and connive. Wasn't nobody coming to give you nothing because you had something. You had to go get something. And it was a handful of young brothers in my neighborhood that really went after it, and I was one of them. So yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna end this one because the next one that I start, I'm gonna go into me becoming a gang enforcer for the Playboy Gangsters. How Jesse James was already my big homeboy before Playboy Gangster ever started. Um, some of the things we got into, very little of what we got into will be a discussion. We can't talk about that. But we became hand and fist, man, with some of the activities, man, on that west side, man. And we was after a bag too. Um, so with that being said, man, we're winners. Remember, we're winners. And we're on a 1,000-mile journey that begins with one step, taking us and bringing us one step closer to our success, right? With unity, we can accomplish all things. Our unity is more powerful than a nuclear or atomic bomb. We have to find a way towards each other. Stop trying to do it by yourself, man. Get some help, right? The answer to every question, the solution to every problem on planet Earth is in a book somewhere. And with all this AI technology, you mean to tell me you can't find a way to the answer? Or is it that you do not desire to have an answer? Failure is a choice. It is. But with that being said, man, y'all stay safe out there. It's your homeboy Fat Ratty Vol signing out. Let's do this. Let's stop it. No, I don't want to do that. Let's stop it. All right, peace.